How did DC vs. Vampires even start? The storyline is something that came out in DC Comics in 2021, DC vs. Vampires. And you have found yourself at the Comicstorian channel, where I take some of your favorite comic books, I break them down into an audio synopsis, and I catch you up on what's going on so you know what to add to your collection. Today we're going to be covering the mainline storyline, DC vs. Vampires 1 through 6, then we're going to do Hunters and Killers, then DC vs. Vampires 7 through 12. There is a spin-off book that explains more of how this started, called DC vs. Vampires All-Out War, and we have already covered that, and I will link that down below. But this is the mainline DC vs. Vampires storyline right here today. Let's get into it. It was a bright and sunny day as a bandaged man walked towards the Hall of Justice. The man knew here would be dangerous, but he has nowhere else to go. The world needs their help. He has met them before. He hopes that they might remember him. His name is Andrew Bennett, and he comes now in this desperate hour. He was forced to run, to hide, to fight, but now he fears that it is all coming to an end one way or another. He is alone. He is afraid. He, vampire, is being hunted. Just then, Andrew senses a presence and begins to run into the street, getting hit by a passing car. People quickly run up to check if he's okay, but the sun begins to touch his bare skin, and he begins to burn, yelling for everyone to get back. He tries to reach for his hat, but soon he falls over as his entire body begins to burst into flames. Suddenly, those flames are put out by a green light, and Hal Jordan tells everyone, "Hey, it's all right. We've all seen people spontaneously burst into flames before, right? Just another day at the Hall of Justice." After getting Andrew inside and secure, Hal asks if he can hear him. How is he feeling? Andrew sits up yelling that he needs to speak with the Justice League. The fate of the world is at stake. Hal tells him, well, unfortunately, the rest of the Justice League is off planet. They'll be back in a day or two. But what's going on, Andrew? Just then, Zan of the Wonder Twins walks in asking, all right, who is this guy? Hal tells him to close the door, explaining that the man is a vampire. Zan yells out, whoa, really? And Andrew asks, what do you know of vampires? Zan growls, telling him, oh, you're all like undead and creepy, right? Andrew says that he should be more specific. What do they know of Mary, Queen of Blood? She was your ex, right? And now the president of all vampires or something like that? Mary is the vampire elder. She is the leader of the cult of Blood Red Moon, and her wish is law among the vampires. There is a delicate balance between man and vampire, and that is because Mary wills it. Vampires have kept their distance because that is what she wants. But she has been murdered, and the only thing holding back the vampires from total war is now gone. Hal pauses. Did you kill her? No. I was actually hunting for her killer for weeks, chasing leads into dead ends, shaking anyone who might know anything. And all of that led me to one place, the Legion of Doom. I snuck in to find out why she was killed, and it seems that whoever killed Mary also murdered the Legion of Doom. I knew by the way they were all murdered that it was vampires. Mary's death wasn't some random violent act to end a violent life. It was to start a revolution. It was a part of bigger plans. The vampires want to make human farms, slaughterhouses. There's lists of potential targets and allies. I realized that their goal is the genocide of the human race. As I realized all of this, I stumbled over Lex Luthor, and he wasn't dead. He was almost dead and put up a good fight, but in the end, he gave me a vial of his blood, requesting to be killed before being turned into a vampire. One of the other vampires learned that Lex had managed to escape his cage, and the alarm was sounded and I ran. The Riddler stopped me, asking why I was sneaking around. So I took the syringe and I used it to fight the Riddler off, and something in Lex's blood turned the Riddler to ash. Zan says that this all sounds important. I should go get the others. And Andrew pauses. Wait, the Justice League is here? A giant green hand then grabs Zan as Hal sighs. Oh, I wish you hadn't said that, kid. Andrew calls out traitor as he finds himself confined, and Hal tells him, that's a funny word coming from you, sneaking in here to beg the humans to stop our kind from taking what is rightfully ours. And no, I didn't betray anyone. I evolved. The hand holding Zan changes into a giant blender as Hal turns to Andrew. You did this to him! The rope holding Zan snaps and he falls, hitting the blades, screaming, turning the blender red. Hal takes a cup of blood, You know, I usually prefer fresh blood, but on special occasions, I don't mind a smoothie. You want some? No? More for me then. Andrew asks how is Hal able to go outside into the light without protection. And so Hal explains that the sun produces multiple frequencies of light. The ultraviolet light providing essential vitamins to human and literally feeding plants, but it is quite deadly to vampires. But his powers are based on light, visible infrared ultralight, and if he wills it, his ring can control it and filter it away from him, creating the very same light for him to use. Hal begins to use this light to burn Andrew as if he was outside in the sun, as he demands to know who else knows of this, and Andrew in pain screams, "No one!" Alright, thanks for being honest. I'll make sure your death is quick. Andrew's skin begins to singe and blacken as he yells out, "Go to hell." And as Hal drinks more of the smoothie, he tells them no need. I'm bringing it here. After his body is burned up, Hal makes a call telling him that it is done. Had to take care of Zan as well, no evidence. And yes, goodbye, Master. After cleaning up, Aquaman walks in telling him, "Hey, Batman called a team meeting." "Yeah, sorry, just washing up. Something didn't agree with me." Later that night, Batman returns home to the Batcave, but as he gets out, Alfred is already there to greet him, and he says that he hates seeing him coming down here. Alfred tells him that that may be true, but this is a bit more important. Someone came by to see him. He was bandaged head to toe and seemed rather nervous. Alfred hands Batman the letter, and as he reads it, he realizes that it's a letter from Andrew explaining what was happening. Alfred then holds up a syringe full of blood, stating that the man also wanted to state that Lex Luthor might have just saved the world. The world speaks the name Anton Arcane in hushed whispers. To know him is to know no hope, which begs the question, who would dare sneak up on Anton Arcane? The answer is simple. You don't. And Hal Jordan doesn't care to be subtle. As Anton tries to keep the vampiric hero at bay, Hal Jordan breaks through all of his curses and hex, telling him, "Your magic is strong, maybe even the strongest that I've faced." But as Hal rips out Anton Arcane's spine, he tells him, "But I'm afraid my will is much stronger." A voice calls out to Hal, telling him that they have a problem, and he tells them that whatever it is, he's going to handle it. But the voice tells him that this problem has come to be because he failed to deal with the last problem. Andrew Bennett was out in the wind for a week before we got a hold of him, and we have no idea who he may have spoken to. We need to assume that he told people about our plans. Maybe they won't believe him, but someone will talk, and enough whispers can turn into a roar. We must keep any suspicions pointed away from us, Hal. We have to keep the superheroes distracted and distrustful of each other. The last thing that we need is the wrong person figuring out who we are. The next day, Batgirl lays out in the sun when she sees Nightwing standing over her. She tells him that he looks really good. Much different to see him in the daylight. Speaking of which, why are the Bat family being called out in the middle of the day? Batman steps onto the balcony telling them, "What we're about to discuss must stay between us. Now come inside." All of the Bat family are gathered in the sunroom of the Wayne Manor. Alfred begins pouring tea for everyone, and Batman tells them, "I was visited by Andrew Bennett recently, here, looking for the Batman. I have no idea how Andrew Bennett knows of my identity, but that wasn't the part that worried me. There was a note left for me. Afterwards, Andrew has seemingly disappeared off the face of the earth. The contents of the letter claim that the vampires are preparing to wage war on humanity, and it seems the new leadership of vampires doesn't share the same belief that Mary, Queen of Blood, believed. However, another concerning situation has risen up. Villain activity is down across the country, which could mean that they too are targets for the vampires. The fact of the matter is, we have no idea who could be behind this. The fact that after a week of investigating, I don't even have a lead, it's kinda disturbing." Red Hood asks, "Wait, so anybody could be a vampire? Why are you trusting us?" And Batgirl looks at her cup. He doesn't. Damian throws his drink. "Did you poison us, father?" Batman turns to everyone. "No, I did not poison you. All of your drinks were made with holy water. If you were vampires, it would have burned you. Likewise, that is why we are meeting in the sunroom. The UV light would also hurt you. Now, with that out of the way, there's something I'd like to show you." He leads everyone down into the Batcave, and after one more test of making everyone hold a cross, he reveals their new weaponries: swords, knives, and stakes. When asked if they're expected to kill, Batman tells them, "You can't kill what's already dead." But later that night, over on the coastline, Hal meets with the Flash, telling him that he needs to talk to him about something important. Please, have a seat. Flash looks at the construct chair, telling him, well, if you're gonna show off. Seconds later, Flash grabs several pieces of debris from the beach and makes a chair, and the two sit down. Hal tells him that what he's about to tell him is fate of the world, end of all things bad. This is going to decide who lives and who dies. Has he happened to speak to anyone recently? Bruce or Clark? Flash tells him no. He wants to know what they're talking about first. Hal goes on, explaining that he wanted his friend there. He wanted his best buddy alongside him in the upcoming war. But as the construct chair grows claws and grabs the Flash, he informs him, but my lord said that if you returned, it would cause a genocide. You would drink the entire planet because of your metabolism and speed. Flash tries to vibrate to free himself, but Hal tells him, be still. Flash tells him, this isn't you talking, Hal! And Hal leans in. Yeah, it is. And with a snap, the Flash falls to the ground. Hal tells him that he's so sorry. He really did want to conquer the world with his friend. As the League gathers around the beach where Hal murdered Flash, Hal looks away asking, who could have done this to Barry? Wonder Woman tells him that they will find out whoever did this, that she promises, and Batman begins to examine the body, and Martian Manhunter asks if he has any theories yet. Batman tells him, none that I'm willing to share. But Hal takes charge, directing the others on where they should begin their investigations, and as he looks towards Batman, Batman tells him, I know what to do, don't worry. As everyone leaves, Batman looks over to see the Wonder Twin, Jaina, has stared off into the ocean. Batman then takes to the sewers, and as he works on his scans, he tells Jaina that she can come. But more importantly, why are you here? You could be helping Wonder Woman or Superman. She stops him and tells him, it's him, isn't it? You're looking for Zan down here. Please tell him you know about my brother. After thinking for a moment, Batman sighs and tells her, I believe the vampire Andrew Bennett came looking for help, but he vanished right around the time your brother went missing. I found 2 sets of trace DNA in the Hall's infirmary. Someone cleaned up, but they were sloppy. One set vampiric, the other was alien. The highest concentration were around the sink and in the pipes. Jaina looks at the water, asking how can it be she could still feel him down there. Please, let her help. The next day, on the surface of Gotham, Penguin huffs as he runs through the streets, telling a pack of vampires chasing him, I'll hurt you if I must! He trips, falling flat on his face, and he slides right to the feet of Zatanna. She smiles. Oh, you must be in a hurry. And Penguin yells, I will pay you for your help! I'm being chased by vampires! The vampires tell Zatanna that they don't want any trouble, but the Birdman is theirs. He might be working with Lex Luthor. He shouts out that this is a lie. He hasn't spoken with Luthor. They just want to turn him into one of those blood-sucking fiends. She sighs, asking, why is it that the sadder the little man is, the more that he assumes that we want him to be one of us? Penguin realizes what she said, turning, What? What are you? She flashes her fangs. Sometimes a girl just wants to eat some junk food. Later that night, at Flash's crime scene, Wonder Woman looks for clues on the beach when she feels Hal approaching her from behind. She tells him hello and he asks if everything's okay. She tells him that their friend died yesterday. No, everything is not okay. But there is something that she has noticed. He seems to have gotten over it rather quickly. He was referring to Barry in the past tense. She keeps speaking of him as if he's coming back. Hal says, well, Barry always had a crush on you. Everyone does, including me. Losing Barry made me realize that the thing we're looking for is sometimes right in front of us the whole time. She turns back to Hal, wrapping him up with the lasso. I was thinking the same thing. He laughs, showing his fangs, telling her, being a vampire is quite wonderful. I thought I understood power when I got my ring, but... She pulls on the lasso. You killed Barry! He was your friend! I was having a hard time believing I lost one friend today, but now I know I've lost 2. He leans forward, looking into Wonder Woman's eyes. I'm so sorry you feel that way, but you didn't lose me. In fact, I want to bring you to the other side. She tries to move, but feels her body freeze to the vampiric gaze. How are you doing this? And Hal tells her, hypnosis isn't lying. It's speaking to your vulnerability. Hal presses his fangs against Wonder Woman's neck, telling her, welcome to the new world. Meanwhile, back over in Gotham, Black Canary looks at Penguin's dead body when someone in the shadows asks why is she here. She tells the voice that she's examining a dead gangster. What are you doing here, Robin? He steps out, telling her that the vampires are hunting all over the city, and he's putting a stop to it. But then he finds her standing over a dead body. Where's Green Arrow been recently? She laughs, telling him that she doesn't remember. But it seems that they're both a little suspicious of each other. She knows a way to settle this, and he won't like it. The two immediately begin to fight, but through the punches and the kicks, Black Canary sticks Damian with something. What the hell did you put in me? Black Canary holds up a vial of his blood, stating, "It's what I took out of you. After I test this, I'll come and find you, little Robin." Wait, so you're not a vampire? She kicks him down. Nope, and I'm hoping you're not either. Meanwhile, back with Batman and Jaina. Jaina leads Batman to where she feels the strongest connection to her brother, telling Batman that this is it. He puts on his rebreather, jumping into the water, and a few moments later resurfaces, handing Jaina a severed finger. "I'm sorry, but this is all I could find." She screams, asking who did this, who could have done this to her brother. Batman looks at the finger, telling her, "Bone is hard to cut through. Even the strongest metal blade leaves particle fragments along the cut, but there aren't any here. The blade wasn't metal, it was made out of hard light." Later, the sun rises over a deserted truck stop, and a voice asks Black Canary for the password, which she promptly tells the person inside to shut up. Arsenal pulls out his bow, telling her, "I'm not supposed to let anyone in who doesn't know the password." And she tells him that if she had turned, she'd still remember the password. Green Arrow then steps out, telling her, "It's fine. Half the time I don't remember the password either. So what's it like out there?" She tells him, well, the good news is that his theory about Penguin as a vampire was wrong. The bad news is she knows because the vampires killed him. She also ran into Robin, the little one. She isn't sure if he was turned, but he was acting weird. Green Arrow tells her, well, that's not an act. That kid is weird. Black Canary holds up a handful of syringes, telling him that, well, they could find out for sure, but Green Arrow says that if Batman turned, he's smart enough to beat any test they'd have. At this point, they don't trust any of his people no matter what they find. Back over at the Hall of Justice, an emergency meeting is called. Everyone gathers around, but Superman notices, even though everyone is called, Batman is not present. Wonder Woman walks in, stating, that's because Batman was not alerted. Hal and I found evidence that Batman killed Barry Allen. Meanwhile, over in a dark, quiet pub in the docklands of London, John Constantine tells the bartender that if they're going to just keep pouring like that, just leave the bloody bottle. Always griping how nobody ever comes in here, but they're serving drinks like a nun stealing sips at a sacrament. But behind him, Zatanna laughs, asking if he's making friends, and Constantine takes a drag of his cigarette, asking, what is a fine magician like yourself doing in such a dump? She tells him that she's looking for the man who likes to drink in a dump, and Constantine tells her, well, you found me, pull up a stool. She whispers, actually, she was wondering if maybe they could go somewhere a bit more private. As the two step into the back room, Constantine begins to open the bar counter to get another drink, and just as Zatanna shows her fangs, Constantine waves his hand, binding her in place. Constantine asks, we can just skip the whole biting part. She yells at him, asking, how did you know? Give me some credit. How long have we known each other, Z? But with another wave of his hand, he frees her, and Zatanna asks, you're not going to kill me? He tells her that she's already dead. Besides, as she may have noticed, he's got a real lack of people who will sit and listen to him gripe. So what's it like being dead? Meanwhile, over at the Batcave, Batman combs through his records trying to collect as many blood samples as he can when he notices something in the shadows. As he trails off, Alfred asks if everything's all right, and Batman tells him, yes, I just remembered. It might rain. Oh, I see now. Batman presses a button and the entire cave goes dark except for the screens on the computer. He stands up and a green arrow shoots through his back, with Green Arrow stepping out, asking, I'm sorry it had to come to this, Bats. I wasn't too eager to go toe-to-toe with you. Not that I couldn't. However, as Green Arrow gets closer to Batman, he finds that he just shot a mannequin. Oh, this is bad. Batman charges in, punching him. You came for me in my own home! The two go back and forth, exchanging punches back and forth until Green Arrow shoots Batman with a water arrow, telling him, you can burn in hell! Batman then throws him, tackling Green Arrow to the ground. I thought you'd be harder to manage. And Green Arrow tells him, screw you too! Batman pulls out his stake and presses it towards Green Arrow's chest, asking, what was in the water? Green Arrow tells him, it was holy water. Are you trying to stake me? They both then come to the realization that neither of them are vampires. Back over in London, Constantine and Zatanna continue their friendly chat when suddenly Dr. Fate appears, yelling, you must be on your guard. She is one of them, Constantine. As Zatanna launches herself at Fate, Constantine waves his arms, binding her again, stating, we can't have that. As Zatanna asks why, Dr. Fate obliterates her, and Constantine shouts, asking, was that bloody necessary? She was our friend. Dr. Fate says that the vampire kingdom is marching to war. The very fate of the world is at stake. Constantine grabs his drink. Yeah, When isn't it? Back at the Batcave, Green Arrow goes over his findings, telling Batman that he is hearing whispers and rumors that have all pointed to a hero being turned. And not to be an ass or anything, but there is only one hero that goes out at night, dresses up like a bat, and lives in caves. Batman laughs. You were gonna murder me on a hunch? I have other sources I'm not going to be sharing. Your suspicions are half right. They did turn a hero, but it's not me. They killed Barry. Green Arrow asks, well, what do we do now? And Batman begins to share his findings on Hal Jordan. The two begin to go through different villains who may have been turned or otherwise killed, but Batman stops for a moment, stating, I need to know something. We might have to kill someone that we care about. Can you do that? Green Arrow tells him to ask him when the time comes. Just then the alarm goes off, and as the two quickly suit up, Wonder Woman walks in telling them, we all need to talk. Green Arrow lets out a sigh of relief. Thank God! We have some horrible news that... But Batman interrupts him. Why did you come here? We know what happened to Barry, and it's not your fault, Bruce. Green Arrow tries to explain that there's a misunderstanding, but Batman tells him, she knows. And he reaches for his stakes. Suddenly, Hal appears from the shadows, catching the stakes, telling him, you may have dropped these. Green Arrow defends himself from Wonder Woman, asking, what is going on? This is Diana! What are we doing? And Batman tells him, she's one of them! Green Arrow asks if he's sure, because he's shooting at her! Another alarm then goes off, and Green Arrow asks, and what does that one mean? Bad things. Before Green Arrow could finish asking how bad, Superman and the rest of the League crash in, with Superman telling everyone, all right, just calm down. Batman turns to him, are you here for us or them? We're going to help, both of you. Batman braces himself, asking, Green Arrow, do you remember what I asked earlier? It's time! With the Justice League coming to find Batman, he and Green Arrow stand surrounded, as their friends all suspect that Batman may have been bitten by the vampire horde. As the brawl begins to break out, Green Arrow asks, what's the plan here? And Batman tells him, shoot arrows. Green Arrow tells him, I was hoping for something that didn't sound like something I came up with. Wonder Woman swings, telling Batman that deep down he knows what he did to Barry was wrong. So stop fighting. While Green Arrow lets loose several arrows at Cyborg, Cyborg says, we can help. And Green Arrow tells him, yeah, help me become a freak like you. Wait, just to clarify, the vampire thing, not the cyborg thing. You know we're all cool with the cyborg thing. As Batman dodges Wonder Woman, Superman grabs a hold of him, telling him, we can help. There's no way that you can win against us, Batman. Batman struggles in Superman's hold. Yes, I can. He presses the switch on a false tooth with his tongue, blowing a mist of kryptonite, stunning Superman long enough to punch him back. As Batman and Green Arrow back up, Cyborg stops everyone, yelling, enough! Be cool, all right? Just be cool. We can work through this as long as we just talk. We all know that you're sick, Batman. It's an infection, and we can cure it. But Batman stops. No, you can't. I didn't kill Barry Allen. Hal Jordan did. Hal shouts, he's lying! But Batman goes on, telling them that he doesn't know who else has been turned into a vampire other than Diana. But if any of them aren't infected, you're on the wrong side. Cyborg asks, do you have any evidence to support this? And Batman tells him that he can plug into the computer and see the evidence for himself. After a moment of hesitation, Cyborg plugs into the computer, but the moment that he does, the computer delivers an electrical shock powerful enough to knock out power across the city. With the cave being pitch black, Green Arrow whispers, did you just fry the one guy on our side? Assume nobody's on our side. A few seconds pass, and there's a sudden green glow as Hal Jordan lights up the area, telling Batman to come out. You can't hide forever. As Hal turns, he spots Batman sitting behind several boxes. He asks him, what is that? And then a bright yellow explosion goes off, destroying the green construct and knocking Hal back. Green Arrow asks, what the hell was that? And Batman tells him that it's a synthetic, rapid, degrading, fine silicon powder in 130858, and it will neutralize Hal's powers. Green Arrow asks, is this supposed to feel like it just gave me cancer? This is no time for jokes. Do you have your arrows ready? Green Arrow pauses for a moment and then spins around the corner, telling him, I'm sorry about this. And he fires the arrow into Hal Jordan's shoulder. Hal leans back, telling him that he missed the heart. And Batman tells him, he doesn't do that. Yeah, well, it's Hal. What if we made a mistake? What if he's not a vampire? I don't do that. Green Arrow sends another arrow, but this time Martian Manhunter catches it, telling him, we can end this, we just need to. But a second later, that arrow ignites, and even though it's nothing but a small flame, it sends Martian Manhunter into a panic. Batman presses forward, cornering him into a teleporter. You don't have to do this, Batman. I doubt that they could turn your alien physiology, so this is for your own good. Find us when you get back. After sending Martian Manhunter into space, Batman breaks the controls to stop him from returning. Green Arrow asks if he had a teleporter, why didn't they just use that? And Batman tells him, because we're not finished yet. At that moment, Hawkgirl flies in swinging, shouting traitors, but as she passes, Green Arrow fires an arrow into her shoulder, telling her that he knows that they are the good ones here, but they're going to be writing a lot of apology notes when this is over. With everyone taken out, all that's left is Wonder Woman, and Green Arrow tells her, it's 2-on-1, stand it down, you can't win. She laughs, flashing her fangs. Do you really believe that? Green Arrow lets go of his arrow. Obviously, not really, no. As Wonder Woman deflects the arrow, she grabs a hold of Batman, but he slams a jar of holy water in her face to free himself. Wonder Woman hisses as her face burns, shouting, you would use holy water? You coward! Hawkgirl sits up, going, wait, you really are the vampire? And Wonder Woman kneels down, grabbing her. Why, yes, I am. Now join me. As Wonder Woman begins to bite into Hawkgirl, a broken Batman gets up, charging in with a stake, but it shatters as it hits Wonder Woman's chest, and she laughs. You're not strong enough. After breaking his arm, Wonder Woman tells him that he thinks that she's enjoying this, but it just shows how little he ever understood about... Wait, what is that sound? The low roar of an engine begins to get louder and louder, until finally a motorcycle speeds in straight into Wonder Woman, launching her across the cave. As Tim and Damian help pull Batman back now that they've arrived, Damian asks, how do you like our bikes, Dad? And Wonder Woman tells him, you just made a horrible mistake. Green Arrow pulls out another arrow, stating, just shut the hell up already. The arrow explodes, bringing chunks of rock that lock Wonder Woman in place, giving the others enough time to start pulling back. As Batman is put into the Batmobile, Damian jumps into the driver's seat and begins to take off. Batman asks if everyone's out of the cave now. And Damian tells him, yeah, why? Voice authorization E1701PLB. But before Damian has a chance to ask what does that mean, Wayne Manor explodes. And after a short bit of time, the dust begins to settle. As Hal stands up, they got away. And Wonder Woman tells him that she is aware. But then Superman begins to get up. Ugh, he sprayed me with kryptonite. I could barely stand. Hal and Wonder Woman stand over him. Oh, just take it easy, Clark. We've got you now. With the Justice League coming to find Batman, he and Green Arrow stand surrounded as their friends all suspect Batman may have been bitten and is the vampire. A brawl begins to break out. Batman and Green Arrow versus the Justice League, with Green Arrow asking what is the plan here. Batman tells him, shoot arrows. And Green Arrow is baffled because he could have come up with that plan. Wonder Woman swings, telling Batman that deep down he knows what he did to Barry Allen was wrong. So just stop fighting. While this is going on, Green Arrow is letting loose several arrows at Cyborg, who's trying to tell him that he can help. But Green Arrow doesn't buy it, as he doesn't intend on becoming a freak like him. And wait, just to clarify, I mean your vampire thing, not your cyborg thing. You know we're all cool with you being a cyborg. Batman dodges Wonder Woman, with Superman grabbing a hold of him, telling him, we can help Bruce, there's no way you can win this thing. Batman struggles against that though. Yes, I can. And as he presses a switch on a false tooth, Batman blows out a mist of kryptonite that stuns Superman long enough to punch him in the back. As Batman and Green Arrow get back up, Cyborg begins to yell for everyone to stop. Enough, be cool, just be cool. We can work through this as long as we just talk. We all know that you're sick, Batman. It's an infection and we can cure it. But Batman tells him, no, you can't. I didn't kill Barry Allen. Hal Jordan did. Hal shouts, he's lying. But Batman goes on telling him, I don't know who else he has turned other than Diana, but if any of you aren't infected, you're on the wrong side. Cyborg stops him. Do you have any evidence to support this? Just plug into my computer and you can see for yourself. After a moment of hesitation, Cyborg plugs into the Bat computer, and the moment that he does, the computer delivers an electrical shock powerful enough to knock out power to the city. With the cave now pitch black, Green Arrow whispers, did we just fry the guy on our side? Assume no one's on our side. Seconds pass, and then there's a glow of green light as Hal lights up the area. Come out! You can't hide forever, Batman. He turns as he spots Batman hiding behind several boxes. Then a bright yellow explosion goes off, destroying the green construct that Hal was making, knocking him back. What the hell was that? Batman explains. It was a synthetic, rapid, degrading fine silicon powder. 130858. It will neutralize Hal's powers. Do you have your arrows ready? Green Arrow pauses for a moment, spinning out from the corner. Sorry, I gotta do this. And he fires the arrow into Hal's shoulder. Hal leans back. You missed the heart. And Batman chimes up. Green Arrow doesn't miss. And Green Arrow tells him, yeah, well, it's Hal. What if we made a mistake? I don't make mistakes. Green Arrow sends out another arrow, but this time, Martian Manhunter catches it. We can end this, But at that moment, the arrow ignites, creating a small flame, which puts Martian Manhunter into a panic. Batman pushes forward, cornering him into the teleporter. He sends Martian Manhunter out into space and then breaks the controls to stop him from returning. Green Arrow asks Batman, if you had a teleporter, why haven't we used that yet? Because we're not finished here yet. At that moment, Hawkgirl flies in swinging, traitors! But as she passes, Green Arrow fires an arrow into her shoulder. We know you're one of the good ones, so we're gonna be writing a lot of apology notes when this is over. With everyone taken out, all that is left is Wonder Woman, and Green Arrow tells her that it's 2-on-1. Stand down! You can't win, Diana! She laughs. Do you really believe that? Well, obviously not, Green Arrow says, as he's loading up his next arrow. Wonder Woman deflects it and then grabs a hold of Batman. He slams a jar of holy water into her face to free himself. Her face begins to burn as she shouts, Holy water, you coward! Hawkgirl sits back up. Wait, you really are a vampire? And Wonder Woman kneels down, grabbing her. Why, yes, I am. Now join me. As she begins to bite into Hawkgirl, a broken Batman gets up, charging in with a stake, but it shatters as it hits Wonder Woman's chest. You're not strong enough. After breaking his arm, Wonder Woman lets him know that she will be enjoying this. But a noise distracts her, one that begins to grow louder and louder until finally a motorcycle speeds in, slamming straight into her, sending her across the cave. Tim and Damian help Batman up, with Damian asking, how do you like our bikes? Green Arrow pulls out another arrow, firing it, and that arrow explodes, putting chunks of rock down to lock her in place, giving them just enough time to start pulling back. With Batman back in the Batmobile, Damian jumps into the driver's seat and begins to take off. Is everyone out of the cave now? Damian turns to his father. Yeah, why? So Batman says the command to blow up Wayne Manor, sending the cave crashing upon itself. A short time passes, and as that dust begins to settle, Hal Jordan stands up. They got away. And Wonder Woman tells him that she is well aware. But then Superman begins to get up. He sprayed me with kryptonite. I can barely stand. Wonder Woman and Hal Jordan stand over him. Take it easy, Clark. We've got you now. A short amount of time passes as everyone takes refuge in an abandoned shack along the shoreline. Alfred walks in with Damian hugging him, telling him that he thought Father blew him up. And Alfred laughs. No, young master. Just blew up my home and all of my possessions. Tim manages to finish bandaging up Batman as he tells everyone they need to prepare. As much of a blow as they've dealt, they won't be safe for long. And that's when Nightwing comes in. I came as fast as I could. Is this everyone so far? Batman is tended to, and Tim begins to pile up things in front of the door to give them some sort of barricade. They begin to debate about how Diana could just get in through the roof, but with a knock at the door, she casually pushes it open. We've come to talk. It doesn't have to be this way. We were all friends, Bruce. We still are friends. Friends like Barry? Batman asks her. And Hal tells him that it was an accident. Because of who they are now, their condition. But if Batman joins them, they'll see. Think of all the things that they can do while being immortal, as a god. The good that they can do for humankind and vampire kind. Batman turns them down immediately. And as Hal and Diana get ready to fight, Hal says that he had to try. He uses his constructs to handle most people, but Diana focuses on Batman with her lasso, telling him that he can't beat her. Hell, it's almost like he wanted to get caught. And as the lasso tightens around him, yes, I did. As she begins to question Batman about why he doesn't want this power, Red Hood tells the others that she's got him with the rope. Let's go. They press the button and the room is flooded with UV lights, burning both Diana and Hal. Batman gets up, still nursing his injuries, but manages to wrap Diana in her own lasso to keep her from moving. And while trying to get Batman away, Hal yells, "That's it? This was the plan of the legendary Batman? You assumed a lamp would stop us?" everyone is lifted up, and Batman says that they all make assumptions in a fight. While the lamp wasn't the full answer, it did slow them down. They assumed only people in masks would stand up to them. At that moment, Alfred runs in swinging an axe, cutting off Hal Jordan's arm. With no connection to the ring, the constructs fade, and Batman now declares that they can move on and finally get to work. Hal declares that it's too late. They didn't win. The vampires have Superman now thanks to Bruce. What will they do when he arrives? Green Arrow leans in, telling him that he wants to understand. He wants to see if his friend is still in there, somewhere. And Hal looks up. It is me, Ollie. I'm the same person I've always been, just changed. But it's me in here, all of my memories, our adventures together. They're not gone. And Green Arrow tells him, yeah, that's what I was afraid of. The friend I loved like a brother is trapped in there. And even if you can't say it now, he couldn't live knowing what he did to Barry. Green Arrow jams a stake into Hal Jordan's chest. This is for Barry. And this is for you, my brother. Batman tries to stop Green Arrow, but Green Arrow snaps at him, telling him to shut his damn mouth. He had to put down one of his own people. At that moment, a call comes over the comms, and Batman says that they've been trying to reach her. But Batgirl tells him to shut up and listen. She's been on a separate adventure with Harley Quinn, and they just found the Joker, but he's dead. The vampires killed him. Joker wasn't their king. All the clues, all the evidence, it pointed to the Joker. The vampires wanted us to think that it was the Joker. And there's only a few people who could have fooled us like this. Batman looks back at the others. I understand. Good work. Red Hood asks him, is everything okay? Batman begins to state that they know where the Joker is. And suddenly, there's a shock as a fist punches through the back of Batman's spine and out of his chest. And Nightwing tells the family, I think it's time that we both stopped lying to our families. Nightwing pulls back his bloody hand, licking it. I really wish I could have turned you. But we both know I never would have been able to fully trust you. Everyone charges in and Nightwing easily fends off Red Hood, Orphan, and Tim. All right, we all need to calm down. I was better than all of you when I was still human. It doesn't have to end this way. Orphan tries to attack again, but Nightwing spins her around, snapping her elbow. Green Arrow fires arrows, telling Alfred that he needs to get them out of here. Batman always has an escape plan, right? And Nightwing catches the arrows. I was going to offer you a place, but not after what you did to Hal. Tim swings in, knocking Nightwing away, but Nightwing gets back on his feet, slamming Tim to the ground. I am the Lord of Vampires now, and you will respect me. And Tim just wants to know how. How did he pass every test? And Nightwing laughs. You all spent so much time looking at our own family, when you really should have been looking at our other family. Dear Starfire, we couldn't turn her, but we found that her blood had fascinating properties. It doesn't last long, but a few drops is all I need to hold a cross, touch holy water, and walk in the sun. As Tim lays on the ground, Nightwing places his boot over his head. And now I can do all the things that you all can do, but better. And he stomps on Tim's head. While the others escape out the back, Damian grabs a bow, firing arrows. I'll kill you! You're dead! Green Arrow tries to convince him to go. But Damian is too far gone in his rage to listen to anyone, throwing himself at Nightwing, and Nightwing catches him, biting into his neck. No, you won't be killing anyone. As Red Hood, Alfred, Green Arrow, and Orphan are running out the back, Red Hood says that he is going back for the kid. So, blitzing back in, he jumps into the fight, and Nightwing tells him that there's no way that he can win. It's not too late. I'm suddenly in need of a lieutenant, Jason. I spent all those years in your shadow. I'm not gonna do that for an eternity. He kicks Nightwing in the back onto a piece of bent steel. I knew this day would come. The Nightwing screwed up bigger than I ever could have. Nightwing tells him, sounds like you got a lot of issues to work out. Luckily, you'll have centuries to do it. Before Red Hood could respond, Diana jumps up, biting him in the neck. As Red Hood goes limp, Diana begins to pour some of her blood into his mouth, and Nightwing asks, this is better, right? I would have beaten you. Do it! Nightwing asks, what was that? And Red Hood turns. Do it, Archer! Suddenly, an arrow shoots through, hitting Red Hood in the chest, shattering against Diana. Off in the waters, Green Arrow lowers his bow, telling Alfred to go ahead and take them underwater. It's over. Diana's getting ready to follow, but Nightwing tells her to let them go. They're no longer a threat. He just wanted at least one of his brothers to join him. Diana tells him that the little one is still alive, barely. Nightwing explains to her that they're going to begin their plans because tonight they're going to topple their seats of power that makes everyone feel secure. Tonight they will burn their life-giving forests and jungles to the ground. Tonight their heroes will discover that the war has already been lost before they even knew that it began. The world is theirs now. The eternal darkness has begun. With the rise of vampires, Gotham has gained the moniker of the Fallen City, or the seat of power to the vampire kingdom. Humankind is next to be outlawed here, but there is still a small resistance group working to try and evacuate as many humans as possible. But as one group gets ready to leave the city, they notice that their contact has a new friend. The contact leading the group, Martian Manhunter, quickly drops his disguise, telling the men to run, that this one is not with them. The recently turned vampire Damian Wayne sits up in a fire escape, stating that he has been a very busy Martian. All the vampires are looking for you. Martian Manhunter tells the child that if he wants to survive the night, he will tell his masters that he did not find him. Damian flicks a lit match and it surrounds Martian Manhunter and fire. Nah, afraid I can't do that. Later over at Wayne Tower, home of the Vampire King Nightwing, Damian walks up to the front desk. And Black Mask asks him, "Name?" Damian drops Martian Manhunter's bloody cape. "You know my name. I'm here to collect a bounty. Target is dead." Black Mask laughs. "A member of the Justice League. You're moving up in the world, kid." "Good." And with that, Damian tells Black Mask, "I want to move upstairs and see him." Black Mask informs Damian that they have been over this for months. Nobody sees the king. Now run along before you get a spanking. Damian is quick to quip back, but as the two are taunting each other, Mr. Terrific steps out asking if there is a problem. Both quickly bow. No. But Mr. Terrific tells Damian to stand and for Black Mask to stay. Mr. Terrific then tells him that if he really wants to speak to him, he knows what needs to be done. Bring in one of the king's enemies. Alive. A bit later, in the abandoned subway station in Mionch Street, Alfred patches up Martian Manhunter, as Martian Manhunter says that he doesn't appreciate the child attacking him like that. Alfred says that he had to make it look real in case anyone was watching. Damian then slides down from above and tells them, "Yeah, and I was bored. And you're welcome, by the way. The vampires think you're dead." But after getting Damian some blood to replenish his strength, Alfred then asks, "Did you have no luck getting to Richard?" And Damian tells him no. "Dick is hiding, same as us. The only way to get him is if I bring in someone that he wants," which Alfred immediately says no to. However, back in Wayne Tower, Damian walks in with a duffel bag telling Black Mask, "Wake up! It's time for me to have that chat with the king." Black Mask looks at the bag. "Who did you get?" And Damian unzips it, revealing Alfred pleading to let him go. Once they go up to the throne room, Nightwing looks out over the ruined city. "I was warned that immortality can make one nostalgic, but I didn't expect it to happen so soon. I'm trying to remember. What was that dessert Bruce made for us when he took us on that trip to Midway City for his birthday?" Alfred says that he's afraid he doesn't recall a trip to Midway on his birthday. And Nightwing laughs. "Very good. It was a test. And even though I can't eat it anymore, I'll never forget the taste of the chocolate au crumble de feroce. Harder to do your tricks when you can't read a vampire's mind. Isn't it, Jean?" As Martian Manhunter reverts from his Alfred disguise, he says that the kill was his. Nightwing tells Damian, "Don't worry. The Martian will be busy with some of our other friends first." As several turned heroes and villains run out attacking Martian Manhunter, Nightwing begins to start the fight with Damian, kicking him, asking, "What was your play here? Do you want power? Even if you took me out, you're a bit off to be next for the throne." Damian takes out one of his knives, stabbing into his leg, cutting along it to reveal a hidden stake. But as Martian Manhunter fights, the vampires push him over the edge of the balcony, and Nightwing says that it seems that his co-conspirator is down, leaving you all alone once again. Damian leaps down, grabbing Nightwing by the neck, and Nightwing tells him, "You're going to have to answer me this. If it's not power you're after, what is it? Jealousy? Are you angry that I didn't pick you to be by my side?" Damian tells him that he made this mistake when he was human too, always thinking that everyone looks up to him. "But I never did. I always knew that I'd be better than you when I grew up." Nightwing pushes Damian back, asking, "Then why are you here then? Explain why before I kill you." Damian bites Nightwing's arm, throwing an elbow back, telling him, "Because you killed my father!" Nightwing tells him Bruce was a father to me too, but I would have to put him down when he found out that I was the Vampire King. Bruce was many things, but he wasn't complicated. He wasn't the person either of us looked to for compassion. Alfred was. A screen then lights up showing Alfred and the other Resistance members captured, and Nightwing goes on. And I raided your little underground hideout. Thanks for bringing in so many targets to one place, by the way. Nightwing then takes a seat. You have a choice. We fight and Alfred and the others die, or you can race and try to save them, Damian. But if you are to leave now, you will never get another chance to finish me. Damian pauses for a moment, but ultimately turns to save Alfred, and Nightwing tells him, your compassion is your greatest weakness. Damian fights his way down to the lower levels of the tower, killing every vampire in his path, making it a point to kill Black Mass, telling him, I never did like you. And as he reaches the room with everyone else, all but Alfred is alive, as fire begins to set her sights on him. Alfred tells him that he shouldn't have come, and Damian charges forward with his stake as fire blasts him with a concentrated beam of fire. Damian slams the stake into her chest, and as fire begins to grow unstable, she begins to combust, releasing more of her energy, and she begins to rip Damian apart. Alfred crawls over. Can you hear me? Her flames. Ultraviolet. Dying. Go. Alfred picks Damian up, tilting his head. Do it. And as much as Damian tries not to, he eventually bites into Alfred's neck, and he begins to drink. With enough to live, Damian passes out when Nightwing walks in. Hello. Alfred grabs the stake. Did you come here to finish him off? If you did, I'm ready for the fight. Nightwing tells him, I'm not here to kill you. In fact, I'm sorry that I didn't get a chance to ask this before we parted ways. Would you like to become one of us? You could have eternal life. It would mean a lot to me, Alfred. Alfred looks at him, glaringly. Respectfully, go to hell! Nightwing tells him, I thought so, but I figured I could still try. I'm sorry about everything. This isn't what I wanted, Tim, Jason, but Alfred stops him. Don't you dare speak his name! What do you want from me? I don't really know, Alfred. Maybe I wanted to make sure that Damian had been taken care of. At this point, you're no longer a threat. You'll never get the chance to face me again, so I just wanted to make sure the kid was okay. Why? Because this is forever. If our kind is going to share this planet, Damian might be the key to it. And he has something that the rest of us vampires lack. Compassion. Or maybe because when I turned, I had his support, while he had no one. Alfred picks up Damian's body and asks, are you going to let us walk out of here? And Nightwing tells him, I promise. Alfred tells him, you do. Nightwing turns. And this is goodbye, Alfred. And as Alfred begins to leave with Master Damian in his arms, goodbye, Master Richard. The story is getting heated up, but now it's time to see what was going on with Harley Quinn over in DC vs. Vampires Killers. Here we go. There was a war that shook humanity. Humans were lost, overrun by the vampires. And those fortunate enough to not have been turned, they do anything by any means to keep things that way. Even if it involves promising false hope in the form of protection against vampires. And that's where Harley Quinn and Selina Kyle come in. They are here to put a stop to the Mad Hatter's little underground crime ring, because that interferes with her underground crime ring. But while Hatter provides tools to fight against the vampires, Harley provides the same. Except Harley makes it very obvious that she is in it for profit, not for the good of humankind. Though there is one thing that Harley can offer that Hatter cannot, a supposed way out of Gotham. To which Harley makes very clear that she cannot do. And going forward, Hatter now works for her, so he can keep doing what he does and she'll come by in a week for her kind. Hatter apologizes for making her life harder than it needs to be, and he offers a means to relax her by shooting her in the back of the head with a crossbow. However, Harley is ready for that. Before he could even pull the trigger, she had already pulled hers and killed him. Before leaving, though, Selina motions that she probably didn't want to kill Mad Hatter. The Biters allow them to do what they do because they are beneath their notice. If they start killing people or consolidating power, that might look bad for them. Hatter helped take some of the focus off of them. Before heading home for curfew, Harley decides to get a bite to eat at the underground diner with her crew, which consists of Clayface and Solomon Grundy, who has been oddly quiet since joining. But while eating their, well, what passes for food these days, Harley notices a presence looming within the shadows. She throws her fork, telling them to come out, and from the darkness, Jim Gordon steps out, and Harley shouts that it's Jeff. Jim corrects her, telling her that he needs their help. They obtained a vial of Lex Luthor's blood. There's something in it that can kill the vampires, and they need it to get out of the city. Harley asks, why do people keep thinking that? But Jim ignores her, stating that Gotham is lost. Take this and get it to the people who will understand it. Save humanity. While Harley tries to tell him that she can't, the turned Scarecrow steps out, telling Jim to come here. Harley tells him, look, we're all plenty scared here. Why don't you try being a bit, I don't know, nicer? As Midnight and Atom Smasher come out and stand behind Scarecrow, Clayface and Solomon Grundy get up, and Harley separates the two groups, stating that they all just need to relax and take a breath. Well, you know, those of us who can, at least. Suddenly there's a laughter as Mr. Terrific comes out, stating that it would seem that Miss Quinn is the voice of reason and the human community. But why is it that you are out past curfew? The one that we clearly set 5 months ago. Harley tells him that it might have something to do with them blocking out the sun. Kinda makes it hard to tell what day it is. In any case, I'm gonna finish my meal and... But Mr. Terrific smacks her across the station floor, then grabs her, slamming her into the wall, reminding her that the city belongs to the vampires. Those who are not vampires are just food. Now, get out of here and leave Jim behind. With that, Harley returns home to Arkham Asylum, where Selina notices the cut on her face and asks what happened. Harley tries to play it off, but Selina pushes the subject until Harley talks about her run-in with Mr. Terrific. After a bit of persuasion, Selina convinces Harley to just relax for the night while she goes out and gets the medicine to put on that cut. If she goes out like that, she'll have biters swarming all over her. But later, while Harley is sleeping, Selina sneaks in and finds the vial, asking, what is this? Harley says that Jeff Gordon slipped it into her pocket. And Selina is confused. The race car driver? Harley tells her that she didn't ask what his hobbies were. He just said that it had some kind of magical power that hurts the biters. Said it could save the world. Selina says, maybe, or we turn this over to the vampires. How do riches and power beyond our wildest dreams and the Vampire King being in our debt sound, Harley? Because that sounds a lot better than saving the world. Harley snatches the vial, telling her that it sounds almost as good as saving the world. She'll think about it. So later that night, she sneaks out to the sewers to meet her contact to get the items out of the city. She finds Solomon Grundy there waiting. She asks if the boat is here yet. It might be time for them to get the hell out of Gotham for a bit. But suddenly, Solomon falls over and his head rolls away. Harley realizes very quickly that, oh no, this isn't good, and a voice tells her to run. She turns around to find a talking turd, and she responds to the turd with, oh my god, a talking turd! This city really is magical. Clayface says that it's him, or at least what's left of him. He's gonna have to get out of here. They killed Grundy and took the boat. He already doesn't have much left in him. From the shadows, Mr. Terrific steps out. He's right. But you can still give me what I want, Harley. She yells, fine, she'll give. Let her get it out of her pants. And after grabbing a small vial from the front of her pants, she sprays water into Mr. Terrific's face, and then quickly turns, staking Midnight in the chest. Mr. Terrific wipes off his face. Is that holy water? I will kill you for that! And he slams her into the ground, getting ready to bite her. He stops, though, when he realizes there's a stake in his chest, and he begins to disintegrate. Harley gets up, dusting herself off. You're not the first man to ever threaten me, and now you're all dead, and I'm still here. Guess they should call me Mrs. Unfreaking Believable. Now, where's my little turd-like friend? With that, Harley returns to Arkham as she tries to quietly sneak back in, but Selina turns on the light, asking where has she been. Harley holds up the Clayface turd and says, look who got a makeover! And Selina backs off, asking, why did you bring that here? And Harley looks at it. Oh, ew, wrong turd. Selina then shows her fangs. Where is the blood? Harley says that if she turns and sees a vampire, it's gonna be real sad. Selina lunges, throwing herself, telling her not to play with her. The blood probably isn't even real. And Harley grabs a vase, breaking it over Selina's face. Maybe not, but I will at least make your night a crappy one. As they begin to battle, Selena grabs Harley and bites into her neck. And after a few moments, steps back asking, what's wrong with you? Harley laughs. I was worried about more biters. I thought they would catch me and take the blood vial away, so I injected it into myself. Selena begins to crumble away, just like Mr. Terrific did, and Harley says, wow, I guess it really does work. After setting fire to Arkham Asylum, she grabs her bag and bat and heads out as the last hope of humanity, which she herself already isn't too thrilled about being. It all happened so fast. As the infection spread, our heroes turned on each other, falling one by one. Their leaders, their protectors, anybody who tried to stop the coming plague was killed as a warning shot to the rest to not resist. And yet, they didn't listen. But it was too late. Those who fought fell. Those who ran were hunted down. And after the big battles ended, they plagued the forests, the jungles, and the crops. People starved and choked on smoke while the whole world was plunged into constant darkness. The planet was theirs. And Nightlight, one of humanity's last safe havens, has fallen, or so the rumors say. As a convoy passes through the dead of night, it is stopped by a roadblock of burning cars. Director Bones gets out of his car, telling Killer Frost to put out the fires. Peacemaker and Strange get those cars out of the way, everyone else eyes up. As Peacemaker and Strange get to work moving the cars, Strange asks if he saw something. And Peacemaker says that it was probably a rat. Strange tells him no, it looked like a snake, and Peacemaker says that there are no snakes out there. He'll give him $50 if it was a snake. Just then a snake slithers up asking if any of them has seen his apple by any chance. Strange grabs his gun yelling, "It's Plastic Man!" And Plastic Man says, "Someone get this man his money!" As a fight breaks out, Bones yells to everyone behind that this was an ambush, protect the vehicles. Wonder Woman flies down telling them that she prefers to think of it as light housekeeping, and at that moment Firestorm and Heatwave surround the front team, and Peacemaker says that they can take them. Killer Frost focuses her ice on Heatwave, asking if this one can even do anything that isn't against defenseless civilians. Heatwave goes to respond, but Firestorm obliterates her, telling him, "Don't get distracted, get back to work!" Raven gets to work pacifying Heatwave, but as she turns her attention to Wonder Woman, she tells Raven, "You're just a sad little goth girl." Before Raven could use her magic, Plastic Man coils up, biting her on the neck. As the remaining members of the team fall or are picked off, Firestorm walks up to Bones, stating that he's going to ask him a question, and if he doesn't like the answer, he's going to melt him. Bones says that he always thought that he was the most boring member of the Justice League, and Firestorm tells him, "Funny, 'cause I never thought of you at all. Where's the secret city?" Bones lights a cigarette off of Firestorm's chest, telling him that he has no idea what he's even talking about. Firestorm says that he thinks that he does. He can't save the city. They will find it. So if he was a smart man, he'd be worried about saving himself right now. Bowen says that he'd say the same for him, but it's too late for that. Before Firestorm has a chance to respond, he's stabbed in the back from behind, causing him to go critical and explode, taking out about everything around him. As that smoke clears, a puddle of water lifts up, taking the form of a person, and Jaina appears. As a voice calls out to her, she quickly spins back, ready to fight when the voice tells her to relax, down here. The Skull of Bones says that he doesn't know who the hell she is, but they need her help. And Jaina tells him that there is no we. The Vamps won't be down for long, and she isn't sticking around to face off with Wonder Woman. Bone then tells her to take the first car. It's armored. And as Jaina tells him that she'd rather travel on foot, Bones asks, "Does it look like I give a damn what you want? Get in the car!" As they're back on the road, Bones asks if she's alone. She says that she lost someone. He always wanted to be a hero. She just wanted to be with him. And then after he was gone, when it all happened, she didn't know who to trust. Bones says that that's what they must do. They must become what they take from them. Be the hero that you lost, Jaina. She wipes a tear, telling him that she doesn't know if she has it in her. She just wants to make them pay for what they've done. Anyway, this is the spot. But there's nothing here. As she looks over asking again, she just sees Bones' head is just there. She gets out, looking at the swamp for a moment, and then Killer Croc's head slowly begins to appear from the sludge. He says, "Password." She asks him, What? And Croc begins to sink back down as she's yelling out, "Wait, no one told me that there was a password! How many guesses do I get? Mr. Bones told me to come. Director Bones, I never got his first name." Croc stands up. "You should have just said that. Here." He hands her a small bottle, and then the Atom jumps out of it asking, "Jaina? What? Where is everyone else?" Jaina says that they were killed in an ambush. No one made it. Mr. Bones survived long enough to get her here safely. Atom is shocked. Wait, did he actually pull it off? Please let her be okay. Atom runs to the back of the car, opening up the trunk to reveal Supergirl, and Jaina asks, "Are you freaking kidding? She was in there the whole time? Why didn't she help?" Croc picks up Supergirl, telling Jaina to back off. "Why not get that stick out of your butt and look up?" Atom tells her that there is no sun, so there is no Supergirl, just Kara. And how about they get into the city? We good, Waylon? Croc says that they're good, and Atom shrinks both Supergirl and Jaina into the bottle, and Croc walks back into the polluted lake. As the city begins to unfold, Atom welcomes Jaina to Kandor, the last Kryptonian city. Supergirl looks around, asking what happened to the Kandarian, and Atom explains that they bring refugees here to hide, assuming that the Kandarians would take them in. But there was no one left in the bottled city when they got here. Grayson's forces must have found the city before them. Supergirl asks who got here, and Atom tells her Wonder Woman, Grodd, Majestic Shazam, and Kal-El. But come on, let's get inside. As Jaina, Supergirl, and Atom all walk in, he finds Batgirl and Green Arrow arguing about what they plan to do next. Green Arrow suggests that they go hit the human farms in Smallville, while Batgirl says that they need to go over their other plans first, and Dr. Fate says that the priority needs to be clearing the ash clouds out of the sky. They do that, they get a tactical advantage over the Turned. Their best bet would be Australia. Batgirl then says no. As long as the Vamp King is around, the war continues, and they will continue to lose. She's going to Gotham to kill Dick Grayson. Constantine then says, well, if you're going to Gotham, there's one poor soul who got out after it fell. She could probably tell you how it's done. Only, she's working with some nasty chaps on a little project, and they're not exactly the sharing type. Elsewhere, as Hugo Strange gets prepped, he says that he's going to take another spinal fluid sample. Anyone else need anything while I'm there? Across the room, a chained-up Harley Quinn lifts her head, stating that she's going to take a moment to remind them that in case they forgot the last 100 times that she said it, but once she gets out of these chains, she's going to personally beat up their big old brains out of their tiny heads with a big freaking hammer, okay? As what remains of the heroes in the world gather in the shrunken Kryptonian city of Kandor, Black Canary walks by Green Arrow's room when she overhears an argument inside. Green Arrow yells that he's supposed to be enough for both of them, but Constantine tells him, my guy is already risking his life with this. If you want, I can teleport you into Kent's backyard to get more. Canary opens the door asking what is this all about, and Constantine tells her that she can ask her lover boy. She then snatches the cigarette that he's about to light, stating that she is asking him, and if he can't, get out of her man's room so that he can explain. Constantine scoffs, getting up, telling her, fair enough. Turns out, I have to go anyway. He leaves with Green Arrow beginning to explain to Black Canary, but she tells him to stop. She already knows that he isn't going to tell her the truth anyway, so just don't. You're leaving, right? And Green Arrow asks what does she want him to say. There are blood farms. Humans are being kept in cages to be fed on. So I'll ask one more time, come with me. You know I'm a straight shooter with you at my side. She asks if he's sure that this isn't just him trying to confront Carter. We can't save him. We have a real shot at taking down Grayson and ending this entire thing. You should come with us to Gotham. Green Arrow asks, what after? Who takes the throne? Diana? Jean? The kid? Besides, Constantine is never gonna let Barbara go on her suicide mission. She's too valuable. Black Canary sighs. Damn it! We've been over this 1,000 times. I didn't come here to argue with you. I already know that I can't stop you. And Green Arrow looks at her. And I know I can't stop you, so what now? Black Canary pushes Green Arrow back onto the bed, stating that they'll spend one last night together then. So meanwhile, in a fancy room, Grayson smiles. It's all over. I've won. I don't dream anymore, but if I did, I couldn't imagine a dream greater than what I've accomplished. There's one thing that I've always desired that I still don't have. Her. As Grayson sinks his fangs into Starfire, he asks, is that why she's coming? Barbara pulls out a stake, telling him, no. You know why I'm here. Grayson turns, kissing her. I do. I'm just afraid that it is you who was unsure, Barbara. You could have everything. You could be my queen. But as the fangs bite into her neck, she screams as she wakes up from the nightmare. But then a voice says that they didn't want to wake her. Sounded like she was having a hell of a dream. Barbara turns on the light, telling Constantine that he has no right. But as the light comes on, she sees Constantine is actually slumped in a corner, burned, covered in cuts. She asks what the hell happened, and Constantine says that he doesn't rightly know. He went somewhere and there was a fire. Whatever happened, someone made sure that he'd forget. Barbara says that she's sorry, but what can she do? And Constantine says that she needs to go to Gotham, make Grayson pay for what he's taken from them. Go to Gotham and kill the bastard. So later, as Barbara goes to the lab where Hugo Strange, Professor Pig, and the Thinker are experimenting on Harley Quinn, Barbara tells them that she is sorry for doing this, but she is here for Miss Quinn. Thinker tells her, welcome, but unfortunately, the subject is vital to our work on a cure, so we won't be releasing her. Barbara tells him that Constantine sent her, and she doesn't care. They had their fun. Now she's taking Harley. Just then, the wall bursts open as Frankenstein yells that she is interrupting important work. Barbara grabs Professor Pig, stating that she is going to stop monsters from doing monster things. And Frankenstein swings his sword. I am no monster! Hugo yells that she knows that Quinn's blood is fatal to those afflicted with vampirism. She could be the key to winning the war. Barbara says that she needs her too, and she isn't going to torture her. Frankenstein attempts to grab Barbara, but she tells him that imprisoning a woman and experimenting on her against her will is the work of monsters. What do you call a person that protects monsters, Frankenstein? As Barbara turns, grabbing her sword, she puts it to Frankenstein's throat. And he tells her, you have a valid point. Take her. But as Hugo is about to stab Barbara from behind, Harley smacks him with a metal stand. It's my turn to experiment on you! After stomping Hugo's face in, Barbara grabs her, telling her, it's okay! And Harley tells her, it really isn't. Barbara yells that they have more important people that she can shove her foot in. And as the two begin to leave, Black Canary hops down asking if everything went okay. And Barbara says, no problems. Frankenstein walks in asking if he could have a moment. Barbara asks if he's looking for round two because she can promise him that she will not be as gentle as she was the first time. But he kneels, holding out his sword. You misunderstand. I would like to offer you my services. Meanwhile, out at sea, John Steele asks if she's sure about this. It's not too late to turn back. Supergirl tells him that whatever is happening in Australia right now might be the only chance she has to get her strength back. Out of the shadows, Black Manta says that they've placed their trust in the wrong hands. And now you will die for your insolence. He throws his trident and he lands it between Supergirl and John, hitting an Atlantean, obliterating its head. As more Atlanteans crawl up onto the ship, Black Manta says that Arthur's scouts have found them. We're going to have to fight the rest of the way there. Take the girl below deck. Supergirl tries to swing, telling them that she can fight, but John rips an Atlantean back, telling her, no, Manta is right. We can't lose you. If we do, we lose. At that moment, the entire ship is pushed and John falls over. But Black Manta grabs him, stating that the Atlanteans have command of the water itself. Remember, the depths can claim you, even on your ship. As they get their footing, an Atlantean holding Supergirl says that the whole world is searching for her, and they bring her to the seas. But Black Manta does something, and the Atlantean clenches his chest. What are you doing? Seconds later, a watery tiger bursts out of the Atlantean's chest, ripping out its heart. And John tells Manta that he should have told him that he can make water tigers burst out of people's chests. Black Manta tells him, this isn't my doing. And then the tiger takes a human shape as the woman says that it seems like they needed help. As she fully materializes, John asks Jaina, how did you do that? And Jaina says that she isn't sure. Since her brother died, she seems to now have both of their powers, forms of water and forms of animal. So she stabs the Atlantean with a stake, and Supergirl asks, why is she following them? Jaina says that she made a promise to a dying man that she'd help her get to wherever she needed to go. She doesn't know where that is, but she'll be there. Supergirl looks to her. Well, welcome aboard. We're on our way to save the world. And Black Manta chimes in, that or drown. The sun continued to set over the Coral Sea as Black Manta tells John to wake up. In a panic, John Constantine gets up asking, are they under attack again? And Manta tells him to be quiet, they have not returned yet. John looks over as Supergirl and Jaina are sleeping, asking if they should be woken up, and Manta tells him no. let them sleep just a little bit longer. John gets up, looking at the land far away, and asks if that's it. He's informed that it is Australia, and that they wouldn't have made it this far without his determination. John tells him that it was rough, only fair that the ocean quiets down now to give them a smooth ride, now that they're done. Manta looks around. He begins to panic. Quiet? Oh no, wake the others, we're about to be under attack. Meanwhile, over on the blood farm in Smallville, two vampires are patrolling the encampment when one of the humans yells out that they need food in here, can't keep taking blood without replacing what they're taking. One of the vampires tells the woman to get back or he'll make her dinner right now. They'll eat when he says so. A young man steps forward. The old lady was rude to talk to you like that, but she's right, it's kind of getting dire in here. We're no good to you dead, are we? The vampire asks what does he want him to do. The moss shipments have been delayed, so they're rationing. But while they're speaking, a man stands behind them, and suddenly, an arrow is shot through the back of the guards' heads. The other vampire watches as his partner burns, and he spins back with the young man grabbing him. This is my favorite part! And he too was shot. Green Arrow walks up to the fence, telling the man that he appreciates the assist. But, do I know you? The man says that he doesn't think so. His name is Cole Cash. They have about 90 seconds until the next patrol comes by, so he might want to get moving. Green Arrow quizzes real quick, though, about when the big man comes out. Cole informs him that they almost never see that guy. The only people who have seen him don't tend to come back alive, but he might be in luck. The big guy flew out this morning, and 10 seconds till the guards arrive. Green Arrow fires 2 arrows into the next patrol. I'll come back when he's around. Thanks again. Back out on sea, John Constantine, Jaina, and Supergirl and Black Manta continue to fight off the Atlanteans, with Jaina stating that these ones are tougher than the ones before. Manta says that that's because of the Royal Guard. It also means that he is here. As John asks what does he mean, Aquaman rises out of the waves, coming crashing down on the boat. While the others are swept away, Manta yells to not be a coward and face him! Aquaman stops, eyeballing his former enemy. You are not Black Manta. He died a coward's death in the first days of our conquest. And yet now there is someone else here pretending to be him, sneaking through the waters like a lowly river eel. I must ask, imposter, who would dare enter a kingdom and call the king a coward? Black Manta takes off the helmet, revealing themselves to be Queen Mara. A queen would. Aquaman hesitates for only a moment before reaching out, but Mara tells him not to speak to her as if he knows her. But back over in Smallville, one of the officers stops by a guard post, asking about the 2 vanishing patrols. The Lord has returned and he will want. Suddenly, he's shot from behind by an arrow, his body turning to ash, and Green Arrow calls out, I'm here to talk to your boss, so can we just go ahead and blow the little whistle? Just as he requested, the alarms go off as an army of vampires all charge towards him. Green Arrow begins to rapid fire as many arrows as he can, trying to stop them. Among the group is a large vampire, and Green Arrow says that that is not the big guy that I was referring to. The vampire gets closer, asking, You don't know who I am? I'm Loose Cannon, and you will learn. Green Arrow fires 2 arrows into Loose Cannon's eyes. But before Green Arrow could finish the job, a man grabs the arrow, telling him, That is enough. Oh, hello there, Carter. Hello, Oliver, Hawkman tells him. Back out at sea, Supergirl and Jaina look over the edge of the boat. We have to save her. And Jaina responds, We can't do anything here. John tells them both, No, stay here. Mara is buying us time. That's our priority right now. At that moment, Aquaman jumps back onto the boat, telling Supergirl that it's been too long. You're looking weak, powerless. It's unbecoming of you. You should join us, like Kal-El did. Supergirl tells him that he is better than this, and Jaina takes the form of a water bear, grabbing Aquaman from behind, freezing herself to hold him in place. Aquaman laughs. You take the form of water to attack me? I am the Lord of Water, child. It is mine to command. With a light gesture, Jaina is destroyed into thousands of little pieces. Supergirl watches as her newfound friend is murdered. And Aquaman turns to her. Come now. It's time for you to join the winning team. Aquaman is then smacked on the side of the head by a hammer, and as Aquaman looks at his own blood, he comments that it's been a while since he's seen it. It's so different now. John goes for another swing, but Aquaman grabs the handle. You're strong, but you are no match for me. Maybe not, but she is, and Aquaman looks back as Mara launches herself out of the water. You always leave before the job is finished! The impact destroys the boat, and as Supergirl tries to stay above water, she calls out for help as her legs are tangled. Meanwhile, on the outskirts of Gotham, Frankenstein readies the boat and Barbara says that they go in fast and quiet. As soon as they land, they're going to sink the ship and get underground. Harley asks what if they've been seen, and a voice tells them that if they are, then they're dead. But he can get them into Gotham. Barbara looks back. Damian? You're alive? But Frankenstein informs her. No, he's not. He's a vampire. Damian flashes his fangs. Who put the big brain into Frankie? But spare parts, it's right, I'm a vampire. And I'm your best, last, and only shot at stopping Nightwing. As the small boat begins to sail towards Gotham, everyone notices the flying vampires keeping watch over the city's shores. Black Canary says that if he has a distraction, now might be a good time to use it. Damian tells her not yet. But at that moment, Black Adam sees them and Barbara says, yeah, if you're gonna do something, now would be a good time. But again, Damian tells her, not yet. Harley grabs her stake, telling Damian that he better do it now before they all get burnt to a crisp. Fine. Kate, you there? It's time. As Black Adam comes rocketing towards the boat, he finds himself struck by something and he falls into the water. Harley asks what was it, and Damian tells her that he borrowed some of Constantine's people in order to get her. Though she might come in handy, especially when annoying Dick. Damian informs everyone that Starfire will have to recharge. They need to get into Gotham before they're seen again. But meanwhile, back over in Smallville, Hawkman brings Green Arrow into the camp chained up. The war is over. Your side lost a long time ago, Oliver. But it's nice of you to even come by, even if it was to kill me. Because now, we can have a chance to talk. Lead these humans, be an ambassador, tell them to lay down their arms. Yeah, I'm not gonna do that, Carter. And if I wanted to kill you, I'd have done it already. What I'm offering is the same thing. Turn back on these monsters. Free these innocent people. Save whatever of Carter Hall is left in there. Hawkman takes Green Arrow's bow and snaps it. You are foolish. You can sit here and rot with the rest of them. Back with the others, Damian lights a torch, tossing it into the boat that they've arrived on, and Black Canary asks what the hell is he doing. I'm sinking the boat. We have to cover our tracks. How are we supposed to get out then? Canary asks. But another voice laughs. Poor innocent little birdie doesn't get it. No one gets out of Gotham. Punchline walks out of the shadows and Harley grabs her stake. Oh, I figured that trash like you would team up with King Dick. Oh, I don't work for Nightwing. In fact, quite the opposite. I run the black market here in Gotham. Just like you and Selena did. Poor Miss Selena. Harley is surprised she took over her old gig, and then realizes that Punchline is just the worst. Not a single original idea in her head. But the others then ask her if she's willing to help them, as she doesn't appear to be working for Nightwing. She informs them that she never said that. Back over on the western coast of Australia, John carries Supergirl out of the ocean and begins to perform CPR on her. She begins to cough as she spits up all of the water inside, asking if she's dead. Where are the others? John tells her that the last she saw of Mara, she was fighting Aquaman, and as for Jaina, suddenly, the water the Supergirl spits up and takes shape, and Jaina tells them all that she's there. Wait, were you? Supergirl asks, and Jaina interrupts her. Inside you? Yeah, I took the form of water and gave what oxygen I could to block out the harmful seawater. Okay, that's gross. Then Jaina tells Supergirl that she's welcome. But back over in Gotham, Punchline has her muscle throw everyone into a holding cell. Barbara asks what does she plan on doing with them. Punchline tells her that she hasn't figured it out yet. However, she might be willing to let them go if they do a favor for her, and this one isn't a biter. Barbara tries to argue, but Punchline informs them that if they're not willing to work it out, they can just stay here. So back in Smallville, Green Arrow begins to wander through the camp, and Cole spots him asking that was a heck of a plan. Green Arrow ignores the comment, asking if there's any water that he can get. Cole tells him not really, it's actually been pretty bad. So Green Arrow begins to take off a necklace and begins to unzip his pants. Cole throws his hands up. Whoa, 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 whoa! But Green Arrow tells him that he just needs the moisture. Once the two relieve themselves on the pendant, Cole again, what now? Suddenly the pendant then begins to grow. Green Arrow says that he's sorry about that, as Swamp Thing fully grows out of the urinated on pendant. We will never speak of this again, Oliver. Back in Gotham, one of Punchline's enforcers come in to check on Harley and find a straw girl in her bed. The man asks Quinn, and a naked Harley Quinn jumps out of the shadows, slamming the man's face into the wall, leaving him unconscious. Harley sneaks out into the hallway, seeing Barbara and Punchline, and asks, "Wait, am I having that dream again?" Barbara asks, "Why are you naked?" Harley looks at everyone who isn't locked away and shouts, "Am I again the only one that got locked up?" Black Canary tells her that Punchline let them out and sent a guard to go get Harley. Harley then blinks and asks, "Wait, did you realize how wrong it was to lock everyone up?" Damian walks in holding a bag. "No, she just found someone who understood the importance of this mission." He holds up the head of Two-Face, telling Punchline that Dent is dead and they're square now. He then turns to leave as Harley asks what are they supposed to do with the kid, because she should probably go get dressed now. Later out in the city, Damian asks what trick does she have up her sleeve to try and pull this off, and Barbara pulls off a tarp, revealing a bat signal. This, as the light shines on, it shines a beacon into the sky bright enough that all of the Resistance fighters can see it. Damian shouts at her, "Are you out of your mind? Everyone will know where we are!" At that moment, a vampire comes swooping in and Barbara turns the signal and incinerates him. Yeah, I made a few upgrades to the bat signal. At that moment, another light turns on and another, and Damian looks up. "You planted these throughout the city?" Alright, I'm impressed. Harley bats away one of the vampires crawling towards him. "Yeah, don't get me wrong, this is pretty cool, but we may have the last element of surprise here." Barbara says that he always knew that she'd come. He's been visiting her in her dreams and he expected her, but now he knows she isn't alone. As the rest of the lights turn on, they all focus directly at Nightwing's tower. And the final battle will be happening soon. With the assault on Gotham underway, Harley makes it clear to her teammates that this is not her favorite plan, but at least she'll get to die with a bunch of people who don't like her very much. As Barbara's making her way through the vampire, she simply tells them that they have to keep fighting. They just need to hold out a little bit longer. Meanwhile, over in Australia, John Henry, Jaina, and Supergirl are sneaking into the launch site when they notice that the guards aren't vampires, but rather aliens. Apparently, Nightwing made a deal that if the aliens avoided the planet Earth, they would ship the aliens off of the planet. John says that he doesn't trust aliens either, and Supergirl and Jaina remind him that they are aliens, and that most aliens are peaceful. But that's when they're interrupted with the flick of a lighter and Lobo arriving. "Not all of us, sugar lips." John wants to know if Lobo's turned, and he tells him, "Nope, just mean." They ask him if he's on the vampire's side, and Lobo blows smoke into John Henry's face. "Last time I looked, humanity wasn't writing the checks, so I guess you'd say I'm with the vamps." As they both begin to battle it out, Supergirl stops them and simply asks, "Lobo, can we make a deal?" Back over in Smallville, Cole is keeping an eye on the vampire guards, and he turns back to see Oliver peeing on Swamp Thing again. Using the urine, Swamp Thing grows hardened spines, which Oliver breaks off, making weapons. He turns back to Cole. "If we're gonna need more, someone else has gotta pee on him." Swamp Thing chimes in. "This joke just pleases me greatly." Back in Gotham, Frankenstein tells everyone that he'll hold off what he can, but they all need to fall back to safety. Barbara yells out, "No, we wait!" And Harley asks what are they waiting for, right as the Gotham Resistance speed in, and Roy yells out, "Have no fear, the cavalry's here!" Everyone quickly jumps on the bikes, and Barbara tells Duke that it took him long enough. Damian jumps onto Roy's bike as he shouts, "Hey, is this one a vampire?" Cassandra says that it looks like it. Hers is a zombie. Frankenstein corrects her. "I am not a zombie, madame. I am a reanimated corpse." Back over in Australia, while in their alien disguises that they picked up, Supergirl asks if it's going to work. Lobo tells her that he's never said that it was going to, just that it'd be fun to try. The four approach the launch pad and an alien stops them, asking Logo to state his purpose. He tries to talk his way out of it, but eventually Martian Manhunter and Miss Martian walk by. And Manhunter asks, "Is there a problem?" Lobo looks at him. "Problem? Yeah. These people bribed me to sneak them on a ship, but I told them that they'd cause a scene and you'd come down here and kill them. Looks like I was right." John swings at Martian Manhunter, shouting, "You traitor!" And Lobo shoots the alien. "I didn't betray you. I just made this interesting." Manhunter grabs John's hammer, telling him, "You shouldn't have come here. You must have known that I'd sent your plans." John is knocked down, and as he lays there, Martian Manhunter tells him, "I can sense relief in you. You want this to end, and end it I shall." But before ending him, he turns to Supergirl. Aquaman couldn't stop you, but your journey ends here. I have become more powerful than ever before. Jaina then steps between them, yelling to stay back, and Martian Manhunter tells her that this is not her fight. I will see that you are returned to Exor when this is done. Martian Manhunter then grabs Supergirl's cloak, but at that moment his eyes turn fiery red as he pulls the cloak off, asking, "What treachery is this?" Because the Supergirl that was there turns into water. And Jaina says, "You're not the only one who's become more powerful." "We've been tricked. Kara-El is on that ship. Bring it down. She can't be allowed to get above the clouds. She can't see the sun and get her powers back." As Supergirl looks out the shuttle leaving Earth, she smiles as it begins to get brighter. But before the ship could fully leave, it's destroyed. As the war against the vampires rages across Gotham, Batgirl and those among the living still fight their way trying to get to the vampire leader, Nightwing. But going into the heart of the swarm proved to be too much as the vampires slowly but surely begin to break down their assault. After the sacrifice of Signal activating a bomb, Barbara Gordon and Harley Quinn are the only ones running forward until Wonder Woman stops them, telling them, "Good evening, my lord awaits." Meanwhile, back in Australia, John Henry watches as the rocket-carrying Supergirl explodes before his eyes, signaling their defeat against Martian Manhunter. However, as things are beginning to look bleak, a portal opens up and a projection of Constantine steps out asking, "What's happening over here? Things are looking pretty grim." Steele says that Martian Manhunter found them, but Constantine tells him not to worry, help is on the way. Back in Gotham City, Wonder Woman brings Barbara and Harley up to Nightwing's tower, where he tells them, "I've been waiting an awful long time to see you, Barbara." Barbara tells him, "I had to kill an awful lot of your kind to get here." Nightwing dismisses Wonder Woman and then asks, "Did you come all the way here to kill me?" "No, Dick. I came here to stop you. And if you can't be stopped, just make it make sense. How could you even do all of this?" "How could I not? We always surround ourselves with people who choose to do what's right and what is wrong. We used to use our strength to enforce our will. Am I any different from Superman or Bruce? Perhaps I've been a bit aggressive about my takeover, but I fought it since the start, even if I didn't have the courage to say it. That's why we needed you, your conscience, your compassion. Think of how many people would still be alive if you had just joined me, Barbara." Barbara is confused, but Harley chimes in, "Don't fall for it. He's using some dead guy mind tricks. He's messing with your head, Batgirl." "Help me find a path that we can all coexist, Barbara, in a humane way. If anyone can, it's you." Harley begins to push Barbara out of the way, shouting, "Don't be a damned idiot, he eats people!" Back in Australia, Constantine chimes in, stating that he could really use a handabout now, and as Steele asks who is he talking to, Mary Marvel lands carrying Captain Cold, stating that she is sure that he is talking to her. Constantine points up to the flaming wreckage falling to the earth, telling her that Supergirl is up there. Go find her. Back in Gotham, Nightwing grabs Harley. "That is enough. Killing me will change nothing. Diana or Clark will just take my place. We have lost so much already. Think of the good that we could do if you would just join me." Barbara argues. She states that he ruined everything. Her father, Bruce, everyone that she cared about. She's so tired of fighting. So tired of losing. Nightwing moves close. "I know. I am too. I didn't ask for this. I was changed, and I'm sorry." He moves in to bite Barbara's neck. But back in Australia, Manhunter and Lobo begin to get into it after Lobo's deception, but during that, Mary Marvel returns with Supergirl's lifeless body. "I'm sorry." Manhunter turns his attention to Supergirl and blasts her with his eye beams. "I don't know where you came from, Mary, but you should not have stepped foot on my continent." Cold chimes in. Actually, he's got a point. Since Supergirl is now dead and Martian Manhunter is going to kill us, why did you bring me here? Mary was going to fly you around the world so that you could freeze the ash out of the clouds, clearing the sky and bringing back the sun. Yeah, I can't do that. You should have gotten Weather Wizard. You don't think we tried? That's who we wanted. But Weather Wizard died, so we went with our second best bet. Cold asks him, "What am I supposed to do?" "I don't know, change the damn weather." "I've never tried this, but let's give it a go." Cold aims his gun upward and fires, and even though the gun begins to overheat, it does begin to have an effect on the weather. He begins to laugh. "Holy crap, it's working!" The tight beam of air is forming a sort of polar vortex into the upper atmosphere, but before he could finish, the cold gun explodes, killing Captain Cold. Back with the others, Manhunter grabs Mary, stating that they could have joined the family. They could have been the Defiant Ones, but now they will pay for. At that moment, two beams shoot through Manhunter's chest. Oh, she survived. As his body falls, Supergirl floats there, basking in the sun's light. Over in Gotham, Nightwing holds out his arm, telling Barbara that she is dying and needs to drink. She knew that she could never beat him. She came here for this. Barbara bites into Nightwing's arm to drink. Harley is confused, wanting to know what's going on. Nightwing says that he gave Barbara what she wanted, and Barbara gets up. I want to have so much more, though. And she kisses Nightwing. As she pulls back, she looks over at Harley. We could have some more fun. Harley tries to chime in. You can't eat me! But Barbara quiets her. Shh, let the king eat, and I will go next. Nightwing bites into Harley's neck, and then he pulls back after a few gulps. Wait, what is happening to me? Her blood. You made me drink poison, Barbara! Nightwing begins to burn, and Barbara says that she never forced him to do anything. She just knew that she could never kill him with her own hands. Wonder Woman rushes in asking what they did to the king, and Barbara tells her, I killed the king, unless I'm mistaken. That is not how you're supposed to refer to me now, is it? Wonder Woman immediately stops kneeling. No, my queen. Dick Grayson had a weakness. Me. I couldn't fault him. I had the same for him. I wanted to save him and he wanted to save me. But when I knew he couldn't, I was willing to sacrifice everything to stop him. He was not strong enough to do the same. Now that I have shed that weakness, I won't make the same mistakes that he did. Our enemies have almost fallen, and those who remain are broken. I will now lead the vampire race. There is nobody left to challenge my authority. The war is over. I am the last casualty. And when I died, so did the last thing humanity had left to cling on to. Hope. But Batgirl is unaware that Supergirl has survived. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. Like I said at the beginning, we've already done the spin-off DC vs. Vampires All-Out War, which also explains how Nightwing got turned into the Vampire King. You can go check that out there, or you can just stick around. Like, subscribe, we cover DC, Marvel, and various other books on a regular basis. We do this type of content, plus we explain things, and we do podcasts. So if you want to be a part of the world of comic books, stick around. We'll be here a while.